Hey, hey, Blue Table fans! Isn't that slightly better than the whole thing where the person kind of, galumps in from behind the camera? Hey, how's it going? Blue Table fans. Maybe that'll be my new greeting. Like, hey, Blue Table fans. Okay, first off, this is my business ramble, right? You love it. Okay, first off, this ramble was going to be so huge, but then I've split it off. First off, I am going to get back to you on pricing. We had somebody in a YouTube comment say, hey, we're starting our own thing. How do you do the pricing? Oh, yeah, the dog. Okay, great. So, so that's a completely separate thing. And I think a lot of businesses slip up on this issue. It's a huge issue. It's like, well, if we do our prices too high, then no one will buy our stuff. But if we do them too low, then we won't be able to stay in business, right? That is not as right as you might think. Okay, so let's continue. First off, Valhalla's over. And by the way, we are here, we are in force, we are cracking, we're ready to take your order. Yes, the studio is leaner than it has ever been. Right now we are, if we finished all of our projects and took no new orders, it would take us 4 weeks to get through all of that. So that means you should put in your order now so it can all get set up right so that when it is November 15th, we'll be able to get your order through. And you might think, really? 4 weeks just to get started? No, you got to understand, a pod, a group of artists working on the same project, or even 2 artists working on the same project, it goes extremely quickly once that time comes up. So there you go. It's like a checkout stand. And you have a very fast checker, but there's maybe 3 things in front of you. And we're working really hard to get that down. What I want is your order comes in, and then as soon as the models are in, bam, it's down there and it's actually being worked on. Turn around. And that's the thing that we can do best. Blue Table Painting, king of turnaround. That's right. And so we are working hard to tame this jungle. And that's all I have to say about the miniatures assembly and painting business. It ain't as easy as it looks. Think about that. This is a business where every single order that comes in is different than the other one. I don't think there's anything like it out there. So we're up at Valhalla. I'm talking to Nick from Worthy Painting. And the fact is, when Nick first contacted me, I just plain liked him. We had this great rapport. And when it became clear that he would do better on his own than being a subsidiary of Blue Table Painting, I'm just like, this is a gift to you as my fellow human being. I'm going to show you how to do this. And isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it works? Imagine I found this lake, this beautiful, secluded country lake full of all sorts of fish. And I'm on the dock. And another guy comes up, and we start chatting, and we're getting along. And this is how I compared this with Nick. And actually, when I imagine it more like a pier. So we're on the pier, and we both, and because Nick was like, "Won't I be competing with you?" And I said, "Nick, you got to understand that we're like 2 people on a dock, 30 feet away from each other, both are a pole in the water, right?" And I'm not going to go over and like kick that guy's bait bucket over. It's not right. And it ties into my personal and business philosophy. I'm a cornucopian. Yeah, they make fun of them, but I think there's something to it, which is, as I put it, the galaxy is full of atoms. The universe is full of energy and materials and resources, lacking only human creativity, imagination, and appreciation in order to bring it to fruition. Like that, that's a lot of shows in there. So it's like that guy, that boxing promoter, can't remember. So anyway, so the dock. Now, imagine this. Right now, this industry is being, in my opinion, ill-served because there's lack of organization. There's about a zillion soloists out there. Now, I just want to be clear. There's good soloists and there's bad soloists. So what's happening is the bad soloists who aren't filling their orders and people have to wait forever, and then they finally, like, it's been 8 months, and I hear them all the time in the stores. It took them 8 months to finally just say, I can't do it, and I'll give the stuff back. I'm going to talk about this in the pricing video. I'm making notes about what I'm going to talk about here. So, and then the person just gets there, and maybe sometimes they just take off with your models and money. So that's what I've done. I have a phone number. I have something that no other painting service has, to my knowledge, maybe some do, is I have a building dedicated to this in my name. I have an address. I'm not even moving anywhere. I have an address. So I pushed all my chips into the middle saying, I believe in this market, I believe in what we're doing, and here I am to be reliable. And look on my website, you will find in excess of 6,000 projects completed. There's not a thing out there where we just didn't do the project. Our worst case scenario is that it takes X amount of weeks to get it done, and it's longer than what it should be. So there's that, but it gets done. And that's character. I started in 2004. In 2005, January 2005, there was a project where I didn't have money to pay someone to do it, and it had to be done. And so I stayed up. I stayed up till 1 a.m. every day in my garage. It was freezing. The paint would actually freeze on my hands. And I had to blacken all this terrain, and there wasn't very much light, and it was miserable and cold. And just night after night after night doing that. That's what you got to do to make it in this business. You have to fill those orders no matter what. And you find a way to do it. So Nick and I were talking, and we want the dock to be well managed. And there will be other actors, there will be other companies that are up and coming for this field. Right now, I believe that my current thing where I'm like, this is how blue table painting can be most awesome, is only 7% of the emerging market, what I consider to be, this is what it's going to be, is only that. Isn't that amazing? Right now, we are 1/4% of what I think the emerging market is, and we're like maybe 3% of the actual market for this. The rest is being, for the most part, with the exception of the good soloists, or the good very small companies, is being ill-served. So, you need reliability, you need streamlining, you need a good turnaround. And so one of my goals that I've set is to, what would be the ultimate? The only reason you have custom armies made is because the one that you want isn't available, right? So what if it was just available? What if you came to Blue Table Painting and not only could you get custom work done like you do now, but I also had 200 armies just on the block, ready to go. See how that solves it? Right now you go on eBay, but eBay only, off the top of my head, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody should go check, only has 15 to 30 armies at any given time. But there's oddball pictures, there's iffy communication. Once you get the army, you can't get an extension to it, certainly, not painted by the same guy. A lot of these armies, they're only partially painted. Well, how do you know you can paint it so it's consistent, right? So all these problems will be solved with the business model that I'm coming up with, which is you go on, you look at 200. 200 is my initial goal. What if it was 600 armies? What if there were 600 armies, all with good pictures, with customer service, with follow-up, meaning, okay, Sean, I bought this X army off of your web store. Now I'd like to add some figures to it, and that would be, and you could get it expressed if you wanted. Instant gratification brought to a field where that simply doesn't exist currently. There is no instant gratification. Okay, you buy your models, assuming your local shop even has them, right? So you get all your models, now you open up, pop. Oh, now buy clippers, super glue, catalyst, craft knife, flush cutters. Then, now go get trained. Train yourself how to assemble these figures. Now the painting can begin. Now you got to buy primer, paints, brushes, etc., etc. Right? It's no way to live, people. Have us just do it. Or go look at, right now, I believe we have 15 armies. So I'm 8% the way there. 7.5%. So anyway, so that's a thing. And what if it was? What if it was like a whole bunch of these things? And they could be consignment armies, something I'm percolating in my little ant brain, which is the thing where I don't purchase them from you. I actually you just get a cut of the final sale price. But so that's in the embryonic stage there. So anyway, it could be trade-ins where BTP didn't paint those armies. We have a lot of those right now. It could be what's called pre-mades, and we actually have quite a few of these already. I said 15 armies, actually more like 20 to 30. Yeah, because we've started doing infinity pre-made armies, where you just buy the thing and it comes in a little carrying case and it's beautiful, and you just open it up and start playing infinity. Boom! Isn't that the way to go? Isn't that lovely? Let's do that instead. So that's our goal, and obviously let's see, and then it could be refurbished armies, where an army comes in and we finish it and go through and like really, turn it into a really nice product. But my point is a whole smorgasbord of armies, right? All right, so the dock, that's what I want. I want a well-managed industry that has good actors that are on friendly terms with each other. And it can be like that. Just absolutely lovely. Okay, today is a good day. Had a huge revelation at Valhalla. I should have opened with this. Which is, I'm in this glorious scenic setting. Everything's beautiful. It's heaven. It's heaven on earth. Food, just all this great food. Things of candy just sitting there. You just walk by and just scoop some out, right? And I mean, I sat in the hot tub, this gorgeous hot tub, and it was lit from underneath, and there was this tree that came up over, like a maple or something like that, and it underlit this tree, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. But inside my mind, it's dark. I'm in hell because I'm worried. I'm worried about Monday. What's going to happen Monday? With all these things going on at the studio. And do you see how that works? So, and then I realized I'm walking back from one cabin to the other. I'm just like, this is gorgeous. And then it just hit me. Today is always a good day. That's true of my life. Every day is the present is always wonderful. It's when I start thinking about tomorrow that I imagine problems that can happen tomorrow. It's worry. Fear is the mind killer. So anyway, I don't know if that helps anybody, but there it is. We have one more of a special called the Hero of the Imperium Special 1. This is the absolute best special that we do. And it varies in the details every time that I do them. The current one is $3,000 for $5,000. You pay $3,000. Yeah, that's a lot, but you'll spend that over the course of the year, and you get a $5,000 credit. That's like 60% off. So it's effectively a way that we do a time release, because it's released, typically they're released over 4 to 10 months. A time release wholesale account. And so that is one way for us to generate capital. By the way, as a side note, we need capital. We need somebody to be that role of what it is that we're doing at Blue Table Painting, because we have so much potential, so many things that we could do, but we're doing it all on a kind of a shoestring, choppity chop as we go along. And that model was great so far, but right now it's not really working out. And so if you are that person, you believe in what we're doing, let's talk about that. So let us continue. I want to talk about Drop Zone Commander. As you know, Dave Lewis, the owner of Hawk War Games, the creator of Drop Zone Commander, was out at Valhalla. You must know this now. I am currently, my official stance is Drop Zone Commander is one of the best war games that I've ever seen. Unofficially, I think after I play it some more, it might just come out to be the best war game that I've ever encountered, ever even heard about. So here's how this game plays. And there's like 15 different scenarios, so they're all different. But your guys start off the board. You have to come in, fly in, right? Drop your troops and armored personnel carriers. They have to go into buildings or areas of terrain or whatever, find their objectives. Then they have to get out and then get back on the drop ships and fly off the board. That is so difficult. Like, you would not believe how tense this game, because you're being shot at this entire time. Oh, and by the way, enemy aircraft will be swooping in. You'll hear their approach to blow stuff up. And you've got to have your own interceptors on ready. You've got to have your own anti-aircraft on ready, or they are going to make your day very bad. And this game is just like, oh my God. So it's not just the rules of like how it plays. It's the whole concept of the game and how it's done. And I'm just like, it just captures this feel. It's so exciting. And it's really neat. And Nick said in his store, because he has a proper game store, this is Worthy Painting, by the way. Oh, and by the way, if you're in the UK or Europe, I guess, check out Worthy Painting. They really are worthy. And Nick, I gotta tell you, Nick has that thing that I have, where he really, really not just worries about his business, but he is like ironclad determination, you know, to make it happen. And it matters to him. He has got skin in the game. And just, it was like, wow, someone else out there is like me and has the same problems that I have. It was, we talked so much, it was ridiculous. It was like, we went down to the theater. Yeah, there's a theater at Valhalla. So we went down to the theater. Like in the mansion, there's a movie theater. So we went down to the theater and we're going to watch Inception, but we just paused it and talked for like an hour and a half. It was pretty awesome. He's like, yeah, these are the things going on. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the same thing, you know. It was really nice, you know, a little bit of sharing a burden there. So Drop Zone Commander is ridiculously awesome. Oh, Dream Armies. I want to talk about Dream Armies. Check it out. Remember that thing I did, my BTP painted Dream Army? And so here was my. Let's just check up. Like, let me get a marker here to mark them off. So the Dream, right? You start out with, I called it the Cosmic Jello mold, which is you get a Jello mold. And by the way, I came up with this years ago. You get a Jello mold, and then the mold is a certain shape, right? And then when you pour the Jello in, and then you let it set, and then you flip it over, and now the Jello is in the form of whatever the mold was, right? So what that means is you form in your mind a persistent mental image that you emotionalize, that you're excited about. You can't fake it. You can't fake it. It has to be something you truly want and are truly excited about. And then all the things necessary to fill that and make it a reality will get poured into it. And your life, reality is the Jello. There you go. Reality as Jello will form into whatever it is. Now, if you don't have a Jello mold, if you haven't made up your mind and specifically described how you want your life, your possessions, your relationships, and your own person to be, then guess what? You're just pouring Jello out. All your life and energy and your thoughts and your dreams and aspirations. La, 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 la. And then you're just like, oh, why do I have this gooky mess that makes absolutely no sense, this complete chaos? That's your life. Because you never took responsibility and control for your thoughts and your feelings and your visions and your dreams and desires. It's up to you. You're the only person that can do that. It's no one else's responsibility, and in fact, they are incapable of doing it for you. No one can do it for you. So when it comes to war games, if that's what you want, start with the Dream, and then it'll happen. And I hope to be the painting service that makes it happen for you, that provides that I'm drawn into your Jello mold. I'm getting poured into your Jello mold. Blah. You get it. It's all very cosmic. Okay, I had 10 armies. Check it. Bright Tyranids, 3,000 points. Check. Painted the way I want, with the exact models I want, and how I want it. United Colonies of Mankind, that's Drop Zone Commander. I have not done that yet. However, since I wrote this, guess what? The owner of the game has come out and gave me this stuff. He's sending all the armies to the maximum level. So I'm just going to put a little check saying that I made progress. Shaltari, Posthuman, and Scourge. So I made progress. Okay. Necrons, 3,000 points. Check. Legion Alchemists, nothing's happened with that. Retribution, nothing's happened with that. High Elves, 3,000 points. Guess what? A guy said, I have a 3,000 point High Elf army. Here you go. Ding. But I sold it. So I guess I really didn't want that. But I kind of have to sell these armies to make the bills. So no High Elves yet. But they weren't really necessarily painted the way that I wanted. What I really want is a turquoise one. In fact, we did one like this a while back that was gold and white and teal. Yes! So therein lay the problem. I wasn't very specific in my own mind. High Elves, 3,000 points. Bleh. I just wrote it out. No. Haven't really thought about it. Didn't emotionalize it. Didn't put any feeling into it. Cojones. Skaven, 3,000 points. Guess what? It's sitting out there. I made it. It is for sale, so it might be gone. But I did make it, and I do own it, and I can do a bat rep with it right now if I want to. So that's where I am. I've done 3. 1, 2, 3, and then these are well on the way. So I can't stress to you the importance of making up your mind. What do you want? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of relationships do you want to have? Do you want a wife to be of a certain way? You gotta make up your mind. Do you want, and I just did that as an example of a critical relationship. A lot of these things you can choose. What kind of people do you want around you? What kind of coworkers do you want to have? And if you're like, well, I can't really choose my coworkers, bullpucky, you can choose. You might not see how it can happen, but you must at least choose inside your own mind and your own heart. You have to pick. If I could write my own ticket, I can write my own ticket. Here's how I want it. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I want. And then I spent 2 Saturday afternoons putting up this thing, which you guys have seen before. This is my view of blue table painting. And I've been very specific. To do this, and it has 186 workers in it. And how do I want them to be? Oh, I should have written that down. But it says 68 laptops. That is the number of laptops that I will need. How much will that cost? Well, I get them secondhand for about $200 each. You can do a bulk deal with that. So it will take about $13,600 to do that. So that's my point. It's all finite. It's all quantifiable, right? 68 laptops. Other companies that did it have done it. They're not smarter than me. Are they more dedicated than me? Well, maybe they just had vision and they just kept plugging away. Persistence solves everything, and it ain't easy. I got to tell you, this is not easy. There's a fight inside my mind which I have to win once and for all to not kind of have the easy way set there. I got to burn my ships inside my mind. I will do this or I will die trying. Right? Rah! All right, so let's continue. So I talked about dream armies, and now we are to pricing. So anyway, all right, that's all I got to say. And thank you for attending this business ramble, and I hope you're as excited about miniatures battles and your own future as I am about mine. Thanks for tuning in.